Hi, kindergartners. Today we're going to be working on characters. And when I mean characters, I mean the people or the animals who act like people in our stories. So if we have ever heard of the story The Three Little Pigs, the three pigs are characters in that story. And the big bad wolf is a character too. If we know stories like Pete the cat is in the story. Sometimes there's a dog in that story, and sometimes there's some other animals that Pete also does things with in those stories. If I'm thinking about Clifford, the big red dog, we know Clifford is a character in that story. Emily Elizabeth is a character there too. Her mom and dad are characters, and some of the other dogs and people are characters in that book. So today we're looking at It Didn't Frighten Me Again. I wonder if you already can know some of the characters in this book. Maybe by just looking at the cover. The boy is a character in the story, isn't he? So there is a character. As we read, we'll think about some more characters that we encounter. So this is, once again, It Didn't Frighten Me by Janet L. Goss and Jerome C. Harst, illustrated by Steve Romney. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see an orange alligator up in my tree. But that orange alligator didn't frighten me. So we talked about the boy who is telling the story. He is a character. And who's this? With the D here, Dad, right? And so Dad is a character. Even though we don't see him, we know he's there because he's telling about his dad turning off the light. And another character, what we learn in the story, is the orange alligator now. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see, sorry about that, a purple witch up in my tree. But that purple witch didn't frighten me. So now another character we are introduced to is the purple witch. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a silver tiger up in my tree. But that silver tiger didn't frighten me. There's another character, the silver tiger. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a pink dinosaur up in my tree. But that pink dinosaur didn't frighten me. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a green goblin up in my tree. But that green goblin didn't frighten me. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a white unicorn up in my tree. But that white unicorn didn't frighten me. So that's another character, the white unicorn. All of the things that the boy sees are also characters in the story. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a golden gorilla up in my tree. But that golden gorilla didn't frighten me. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a blue bear up in my tree. But that blue bear didn't frighten me. So another character, a blue bear. All those animals he sees are characters or creatures sometimes when they're not animals. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a red rhinoceros up in my tree. But that red rhinoceros didn't frighten me. Another character, the red rhinoceros. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a giant spotted snake up in my tree. But that giant spotted snake didn't frighten me. Another character, the giant spotted snake. One pitch black, very dark night, right after Dad turned off the light, I looked out my window only to see a big brown owl up in my tree. And did it ever frighten me? Ooh, me? There it is. That's another character. Big brown owl. So, here are the characters we remember in our story. We have the boy. Who turns off the light in the story? It's his dad, right? Dad turns off the light. We never see him, but he says that on each page. We have the orange alligator. We have the purple witch. We have the silver tiger. We have the pink dinosaur. The green goblin. The white unicorn. The golden gorilla. The blue bear. The red rhinoceros. The giant spotted snake. And the big brown owl, who are characters in that story. So today, as you read, kindergartners, I want you to tell me what characters you see in your story. And you can use the microphone to tell me, or you could draw a picture of the characters, or you could use your camera to take pictures of the characters in your story and tell me or Mrs. Cardis about those characters. So, have a good day, and I'm excited to see about the characters that you read about today.